Hello and welcome to my Hunter Dungeon Farming Quick Guide, which is also my very first voiced video. It's gonna be a rather quick guide because Cataclysm simplified this entire process quite a lot compared to Wrath. Hunters have 3 strengths over other classes when it comes to farming. The first one is being able to avoid anti-boosting mechanics, also known as a dreaded stun lock. That happens after 1 minute in combat in low-level dungeons. This stun works on players only, which means that if your pet tanks all the mobs, no stunning will occur, and you can keep pulling mobs for as long as you want to. The second strength that hunters have is uncapped AoE damage. Most AoE abilities work so that the more mobs you hit, the less damage you deal to each mob. Hunter's improved Serpent Sting and Serpent Spread combo does not count as AoE, thus avoiding this damage cap. The third strength that they have is their high movement speed of up to 138% with talented aspect of the Cheetah, which saves a lot of time when farming larger dungeons, which of course increases your gold per hour. Now the main weakness of the hunter is its poor damage mitigation. The pet is not as tanky as say Prot Paladin or a Blood DK, and you start to notice when farming TBC raids or Wrath dungeons that you can't do as big pulls as those classes can. Hunters do outperform these classes in all earlier content though. Okay, so now let's go through the talents that we use. You can use your standard PvE survival spec that you use for dungeons and raids just fine, since it already contains all the necessary AoE damage talents that we need. If you do want to make a fully dedicated spec for dungeon farming, you max out Hunter vs Wild in the survival tree, and then get Pathfinding and Spirit Bond in the BM tree. As for pet talents, no matter what pet you use, you just simply grab all the mobility and all the tankiness talents, while ignoring all the damage ones. As for glyphs, the most needed ones are Glyph of Serpent Sting, Glyph of Misdirection, Glyph of Mending and Glyph of Feign Death. Okay, now let's talk about the pets that we use. Ideally you want 2 dedicated pets for dungeon farming in your stable. One is the carrion bird and the other one is a spore bat. Both of these have AoE abilities that generate threat. These abilities will help remove aggro from you and put that aggro on your pet. Worth noting also is that these abilities can be cast while stun locked, acting as a way to get out of a stun lock as long as the hunter haven't damaged the mobs. Now there are a few differences between these 2 pets that we want to use. The carrion bird's AoE ability has a larger radius, does not require a target and does not force your pet to stop while casting it. Use the carrion bird for instances where you run together with your pet and body pull most of the mobs, like shown in this video. While the spore bat has a slightly worse AoE ability, it has access to the mobility talent, which means the spore bat will move faster between mob pulls and also take less damage when moving. Spore bat is for larger and more open instances with less choke points, and where you send away your pet to do most of the pulling, like shown in this video. When the time has come to kill the mobs, you first put your pet on stay, use Feign Death if you have mob aggro, then you use Misdirect towards your pet, cast Explosive Trap, use Trap Launcher if you need to, use Disengage if you need to, and finally multi-shot for as many times as it takes to kill off all the mobs. I'm going to end this guide by showing you a bunch of useful macros that I use while farming. So first we have the Aspect Swap macro, which I feel many hunters already have, but if you don't, then it's probably a good idea to use this one. It lets you switch between Cheetah and Hawk in a very easy way, which helps you avoid the dazed effect when body pulling. Next we have a simple /petattack, just in case you don't want to use the pet hotkey directly. This is what you pull mobs with. If you're a fan of mouse over macro, so then feel free to add in that as well. Next up we have the no damage pull macro. which is for when you want to pull a mob with your ranged weapon. That's out of your way without killing it or sending your pet towards it. The next macro is one of my most used macros. It's the Carrion Bird's AoE ability, which you use to draw aggro of nearby mobs to your pet, as shown before. The /target player part is to prevent your pet from auto-attack, potentially killing the targets in the process. I've also added the /petfollow to this macro, just because it saves a keybind, so you can use the macro also to call back your pet. Here I show how the no damage pull macro and the screech macro synergizes with each other. The final macro is a simple misdirect towards your pet macro. I believe many hunters already have these as well. And that's all for my quick hunter dungeon farming guide. Please check out my channel if you want to learn how to farm specific dungeons. And there are some outdoor farms there as well. Thanks for watching and good luck farming.